Okay. Welcome everybody. My name is Andrew, and today I will be presenting managing drop-down fields in WATTNet. Please remain muted. We have a large group. I'll hold a Q&A at the end of the presentation. To avoid talking over one another, please use the chat function. I will read off questions or unmute and call on you. All right. So to get started today, we are in WATTNet Express here. We will want to go into our admin console first. We'll go towards our layouts and take a look at our data view layout here. As you can see, I already have some fields here I've added. We'll go straight to our F9 editor. Some of the fields we will be using today is meter type, MFR, phase, wire, and our tester ID. And we're going to want to add class in here. So in order to do that, first off, I'll create a label. Name it class. Drag it over here for now. I'll create a field. Name it class as well. Drag it over to this area. Can resize it a little bit if we need to. For now, that should be good. And now when we press View F9, it's going to switch to our edit page where we have all the parameters of each of our fields there. And as you can see, we have our label, our data column for class. For class, we will need to set the table name to T-equipped meter, since it relates to our meter. And we can scroll down here and set it as our meter user 2 for now. And if we want to, we can edit our X and Y coordinates just to get it aligned a little bit better. Generally, your labels are going to be 20, and your data columns will be 24. So we'll go ahead and set that. And now if you go further to the right, you will see your font properties, and we'll go ahead and align our font for our label to the right so it looks uniform, and that looks a little bit better there. And if you keep going further to the right, you will see we have our drop-down data selection here. So to create class, we will go into our data column, and as you can see, we have several predefined selections here that are in the program, but there is no class selection. So we will have to go and create that in order to see that drop down there. So I'll go ahead and save this for now. Go on back to my admin menu, select validation settings, edit drop-down data, and this is where you'll be creating any drop-down menus. Now you have several options for the equipment type. Generally, you'll select no filter, all types, or electric meter. For this example, I'm just going to select no filter, and you'll go up here and click add. You'll create the name of your drop-down menu. I'm going to name it class. And first off, you'll have to create a code. I will create code 20. Your description, which will, both of these will show up in the drop-down menu. I'll name this class 20. You want to select equipment type. Once again, generally it'll be electric meter or all types, depending on what you're doing. I'll select all types for this example. Go ahead and add another one, which you'll do here on the right. You can add or delete these options from your drop-down menu. Set the code for 200 on this. Select all types. Go and create another one. Code of 320. Name it class 320. Select all types. And we'll go ahead and save that. And when you're creating drop-downs, essentially that's what you'll be doing within this menu. And you can create as many as you want or as few as you want. So I'll save that, back out, go back to my data view layout here. And once you see I hit View F9, that switches to this menu here where you edit your parameters for the data view. And go back over to the column that says drop-down data. And select class out of your menu here. Go ahead and save that again. Go back, and as you can see, this is now a drop-down menu. You have all these options. And there are several different selections here. I have a few different examples. We have our tester ID here. We'll go ahead and select that, which I have created here, tester ID. Go to our wire, which I have here as well. Go ahead and select that. Our phase, go ahead and select that. Switch back to our view, and now we have several drop-downs. Class has all our classes in it. Phase has phase 1 and phase 3, wire 3 and 4, and then several names for tester ID. If we switch back our view, we see there's other options for these drop-down menus. Drop-down menu display. You can display the code value or the description. If you remember from before, when I was creating the drop-down, you created your code first and then your description. So this chooses what will be displayed first in that drop-down menu. For the phase, we'll go ahead and just choose code value, wire. You can select description, tester ID. You can select description as well. And then our class, choose description as well. And go ahead and save that. Go back, and now you can see that either our code or our description is first in the lineup here. If we have one here, which is our code, if we were to choose the description, it would be one phase would be first in this drop-down menu. So we'll go back to our view here. And there are other options. We can select allow manual entry or drop-down style only. The difference between those is, for example, if you have several testers and you want to allow your testers to enter their employee number or initials or whatever you decide you want to allow them to enter, you can allow manual entry. And rather than scrolling through a whole list of names or codes, whatever's in that drop-down menu, they can just enter, you know, if their name's Jack and their code's J1, they can enter J1 and it will automatically bring that selection up. So that's pretty handy if you have a large drop-down menu, and you don't want to have your guys constantly scrolling through a list of 100 different names. So if we go back to our view here, we can see there's now the option to enter their name. So we cannot actually enter that in this, since this is just the editor here. Here towards the end of this example, I'll go into a WinBoard and actually show you how that works. But as you can see here, we also have our meter type, which is defaulted in this database here. And we have several different meter types, as well as the option to allow manual entry. So that's selected for our meter types as well. And if you look here, our meter types, we will go back to our validation settings, and you'll notice we have an option here to edit manufacturer codes. This is where our meter types are currently, or our manufacturers. Apologies. Let me go back to our data view here. So you can see we have manufacturers, and it's displaying our codes here. So this is defaulted in here. For our manufacturers, we go back to our validation settings, and these are all our manufacturers. So if we want to add another, you just click Add up here at the top. We'll just name this one GE. Create our code here, which will be GE as well. And then our description. Go ahead and save that. Go back to our data view. And as you can see, we now have GE in here, which is an option. Okay. So for these examples, I'll go into our WinBoard editor to give you guys examples of how some of these work. Just have our emulator here, go to our meter testing. And as you can see, all our drop downs are here. You can select General Electric here, our class if we wanted to. And these are very customizable. So say you just wanted 20 to be viewed rather than class 20. You can always extend the width of these or the length of these menus to where it only displays, 20 or tester ID. If you only wanted to view your employee IDs, you could always do that. I'll go ahead and show off some of the functionality here for our tester IDs. Say we have several Jacks or Jims or Johns, whatever it may be. You can always just enter the first letter of that name or their code, and it will bring it up. So we have JI here. And right now we are viewing this from our description on this drop-down menu rather than the code. So if we were viewing it from the code, we would be able to just enter J2 and it would come right up. But since we're going off descriptions, you'll have to enter that and then it'll bring their name up. So basically, if you were to do the code, JI would show up first and you would just enter, JI. That's an example for their employee code, and that would be the only one that would show up. As you type in more here, it refines those selections down. Same thing with meter type up here. A3, we want to do A3, going to only bring up our Elster A3 here. Give us the option to select that. We have our phase here. Choose those. And it gives us several options here to do that. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Thank you guys for viewing this webinar. If anybody has questions, feel free to type them out or raise your hand in chat. Wait about 15 seconds or so for any questions here. Give it another few seconds. Any questions? All right. Thank everybody for coming to watch this webinar. Just to mention, we have several articles on our website, radianresearch.com. We actually put a lot of these videos up there, so if anybody would like to go to our website, there's a plethora of different resources for your meter testing, as well as other options. If you guys need any assistance with anything or have any questions you couldn't think of right now, feel free to reach out to our email at software@rrwe.net. That's generally for software issues. If you have some more hardware-focused issues, you can reach out to technical support at radianresearch.com or our phone number here, which is 765-449-5576. We enjoy being your solutions partner and look forward to working with you. Thank you guys again and have a great day. Hope to see you at the next presentation.